Welcome back to Your Average Investor. Today we're going to be talking Unity software. Is it time to buy? Is it time to sell? What are we going to do here? If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. Support the channel, means a lot. So if you don't know, Unity software has a really cool platform that basically lets developers build games on their platform, right? So you can code with Unity and build indie games significantly easier than if you were to code it from scratch yourself. Really interesting idea. I love what I've seen. I've used Unity very briefly. I'm not a developer myself. I just used it like a year ago to see what it was like, and I actually was quite impressed. I managed to create a couple really simple games. And when I say simple, I mean like a square moving around a screen doing nothing. But I was impressed with the interface. And the other thing that I really like about it is how much the indie game movement is growing right now as people get fed up with, the AAA, EA Sports, microtransaction, loot box, pay to win baloney that's in a lot of video games now. So I think there's going to be a big surge. I think the trend of indie gaming is only going to continue. Now, in fact, if you guys haven't seen it, there was a really interesting video by this streamer named Asmongold. He did a thing called "We Hosted a
with
Shark
Fargo,
Tank
the new
for
virtual
video
assistant.
games." Let me mute that, and we'll wait for these ads to run. But basically, what happened is this guy and a couple other streamers or people, I guess, came together and they put in prize money for people who are building indie games to submit their games and say, hey, I need $5,000 or I need $10,000 to do XYZ to finish my game. And I watched one of these episodes because I love gaming myself. I'm a big gamer. And I noticed that almost all of the developers said they were building with Unity, which I thought was fascinating. So now what's happening is not only is this like he's bringing more cash to their pockets, but also the Unity platform is getting a lot more exposure. Like, look at this. This dude's got 2.5 million subs. This video has almost 500,000 views. And every single one of these guys that's going, yeah, I'm using Unity software. Well, now 500,000 people that potentially were not exposed to Unity software are now exposed to it. And there's all these different games. I can't remember exactly which ones, but a significant number of them that said, yeah, I'm using Unity to build my video game. So that being said, let's do a quick technical analysis, see what things are looking like with Unity, and then we'll jump into the fundamentals as well. Now, if you look at Unity long term, this is their IPO, about $80 a share, jumped up to 170, based back down to 80, up to 210, and then sold off with all the market here. So we're going to cut this whole section out because it has basically no bearing from a technical perspective on recent trading prices. Instead, we're just going to look at this. So what we've got here is a series of descending highs. And that's not a bullish indicator generally. But what is happening is we are having this area of support, right? So we've got usually an area of support at $26, but when it drops down, it usually catches around $22, maybe $21.50 before moving back up. And what's going to happen with this is price consolidation happens, and then price has to break out one way or the other. You can't just have forever consolidation unless you're General Motors, and then you can have forever consolidation. If you think I'm joking, they just have forever consolidation. Anyway, back to Unity. So here's what I like about this: I like the company. I think this is a good place to buy it from a technical perspective to get a move back up into the 30 to 40 range, maybe even higher. But also, I'm okay dollar cost averaging in. I don't think this is a great setup if you want like a quick 1 week trade or a 3-day trade. But I do think it's a good setup for maybe a 3-6 month trade, or even if you're looking to hold this long term. I like the stock. Again, not financial advice for you. This is just education, me giving my opinion. But the other thing that I like about this is that there's a good opportunity to collect some premium on options. I can either do it by selling some cash secured puts. So I could sell these puts for probably, I'd get somewhere in the middle there for I'd sell this for like 120, maybe like 118, and $118. So let's say I did that. That means if I got exercised at $22 a share in 35 days, then my effective price would be 20.8, right? I'd be having 100 shares for $20.80 a share, which is great. I'd be happy to do that. The other way, of course, is to buy and then sell some covered calls. Now, personally, because I don't think that it's going to stay down at these prices, I would probably buy 100 shares if I was going to do it this way. Again, disclaimer, I do not own a position right now, but I am seriously considering purchasing one. But what I'd probably do is wait till it moves up back into this like $26 to $30 range, and then I'd start selling some covered calls, or maybe even wait till it moves closer to like this 32 to 35 range and then sell some covered calls. There are also a couple of really interesting historical examples of a big miss on earnings and then a rapid increase. So right here, missed on earnings over the course of a month, up 100%. And I did it again right here. Miss on earnings over the course of a couple months, up 100%. There's also some earnings where they just continued to fall. Here's another earnings where over a few months they were up, 80% or something, or 100%. So to me, I'm like, this looks interesting. I could buy this. I'd be happy to sit on it for 2 or 3 months and see if I get 100% gain, or just sit on it long term and add it to my portfolio and start dollar cost averaging in, right? The only thing from a technical perspective that I don't like is there's no base down here at these levels. Every time it's touched here, it just rockets off, right? Rockets off. In this case, I guess it kind of based a little bit. Now it's cut back down. So that to me is like, all right, that's a little bit spooky to buy right now if I'm looking from a trade perspective, because I could see this just kind of dribbling down to back down to like $21 a share over the next few days. But again, there's these two historical precedents for it to just rocket 100% over the next month. So personally, if I were to enter a position, which again I'm strongly considering, I would start with probably a quarter position here, or maybe a half position, and I'd leave a lot of room to average down as if it keeps on dropping. And then as it moves up, I would make sure to fill up to at least 100 shares or a couple hundred shares, and then start selling covered calls once it hits about the $30 range. Again, from a financial perspective, let me show you financially. Where am I going here? There we go. Something that is a little concerning to me, and I'd have to dig more into their financial documents to see what's going on, but we've got negative EPS that's growing in the negative, right? So it goes from 1.15 to 1.03, then all of a sudden 1.89, 2.97, last year 2.16. So that's a little concerning, because if they're continuing to operate at a loss, they're going to have to sell some shares at the market price in order to raise money to continue operations, depending on how much cash they have on hand right now. And if they have to sell shares to the market, well, that's just going to cause further dilution to current shareholders, and also downward pressure on the price. So for that reason, I'm not 100% on buying it right now for long term. Like maybe I'd wait till it dips a little bit more. But I do like the company overall. I think it's in an interesting position. If I was doing this from a strict trade and I thought, hey, I want to try to get this 100% increase like happened these 3 times, what I'd probably do is I'd buy right now, and then I'd set a stop loss around like $20 a share, maybe a little bit lower, right? So potentially you could lose like 15% there, but you're going for a 100% win. So a 15% loss for a potential 100% win, that's not bad. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. If you haven't already, please subscribe. Catch you next time.